with gold number 5.
Live from 11A Maraval Road, this is TTT News at 6:30 p.m.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Keisha Murray Charles, and this is TTT News. Topping the news tonight, the local government system will soon be a greater service to the people of Trinidad, and this from Minister of Rural Development and Local Government, Faris Al-Rawi. He was speaking during the San Juan Laventil Regional Corporation's 30th anniversary interfaith service on Sunday.
While there was much celebration on the streets of the San Juan Laventil Regional Corporation with a military parade, before this, councillors, aldermen and other guests spent time offering praises to God. Chairman of the corporation, Anthony Roberts, said there was so much to be grateful for, so an interfaith service was fitting to commemorate their 30th anniversary milestone.
I wish to say that the experiences of those years were never easy. Notwithstanding, we continue to persevere, as it is always our desire to serve the best interests of all, and I emphasize all, our burgesses.
Minister of Rural Development and Local Government Faris Al-Rawi said the local government reform legislation that was passed in the Parliament is an opportunity to further improve the service to citizens.
Local government now descends into a deeper form of service where mayor and council become an executive council, where they receive a much larger stake of money, but also a much larger base of responsibility. In the new 12th schedule to the law, maintenance of schools join in other enterprise development, traces, roads development.
He said each municipal corporation will have responsibilities similar to the Tobago House of Assembly.
How we take it from plan to operation is my task as Minister with responsibility.
Prayers for the continued success of the corporation were offered during the interfaith service. The service culminated with a military parade. Mahalia Joseph Wharton, TTT News.
The Public Service Transport Company will be Trinidad and Tobago's mass transit system going forward. The statement by Minister of Works and Transport, Rohan Sinanan, during a retreat on Saturday for all divisions of his ministry. Minister Sinanan admitted that in its current form, PTSC will not attract the travelling public. He said PTSC does not have the fleet right now to service the routes that the population requires. He mentioned, though, that an additional 300 buses will be added to the fleet.
PTSC will not attract the traveling population. We recognize that, and there are several factors for that. PTSC does not have the fleet that is required right now to do the routes that the population requires us to do. The government have taken a decision to fix that problem, where we're going out for a tender to increase the fleet. PTSC told us that they need 550 buses. They have just about 265 buses right now.
Minister Sinanan acknowledged that having buses alone will not solve the problems at PTSC. He said PTSC has to adopt a new approach to what is required if they have to attract the population to use their buses as the #1 alternative to transportation throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Minister Sinanan noted that in the 2023 budget, the PTSC received funding for the development of its IT and for technical assistance.
PTSC service has to be a lot more efficient than it is. So they're actually right now on the verge of implementing a whole change in terms of how you access buses using technology where you can track the buses and so. And then there are different aspects where PTSC customer service has to improve. Even the bus stations has to be more welcoming to the population.
In other news, senior lecturer in linguistics at the University of the West Indies, Dr. Joanne Ferreira, says French patois, also known as French Creole in Trinidad and Tobago, is alive, as it's visible in our linguistic DNA. She gave a presentation on TNT's patois heritage during a lecture entitled Safeguarding Our Pan-Caribbean Intangible and Living Cultural Heritage at the National Trust on Saturday. Mahalia Joseph Wharton has more.
In her presentation, senior lecturer in linguistics at the University of the West Indies, Dr. Joanne Ferreira looked at the history of the language.
Our French Creole or patois variety falls right there. It's a heritage language. It didn't matter the creed or race in this country, everybody spoke it. Up to now, we still have festivals like Carnival and Christmas Crash that have a lot of depth to patois.
The French patois is also heard in the way we pronounce words.
I recently talked to Dominic Kalipasad, and we were talking about how we say sawa and we say kweze because that's how the patois speakers said it, because of not just the language itself, but actually where in France the language was dominant.
Dr. Ferreira said the language is still viable and spoken by 14 million people in the region. She added that it needs protection as well as promotion because it is part of our intangible living cultural heritage.
It's not just a little language, it's the heart and soul of why we have a Trinidadian accent, why we pronounce certain place names the way we do, why we take Spanish words like bachaco, which is actually an Amerindian word that got into Spanish and then came across into French and then French Creole and then English. So we have all these words like planas that came from planaso, sapat that came from sapato.
The lecture was also a commemoration of International Creole Month. Creole Month is observed every year in October. Mahalia Joseph Wharton, TTT News.
More to come. Stay with us.
Hello world, especially for those of you in the Caribbean. The match is about to start.
My Caribbean brothers and sisters, from June 1st straight to November. Prepare now, not after. Prepare now.
Disaster fighters. Na 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 na. Let's do this together now. Hurricane fighters. We got fight to make it better.
The disaster fighters are ready for the hurricane season.
Food and water. Trim the trees, check on the elderly. Check your neighbor and your friend them. Wear your mask to protect them. Check the news to inform them. Or else you might end up in a problem. Disaster fighters. Na 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 na. Let's do it together now. Hurricane fighters. Let's do this together. Let's do this together now.
This message was brought to you by the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Management, Trinidad and Tobago, and the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency.
The Atlantic hurricane season is here. Are you prepared?
Here's some information on powered battery supplies, emergency funds, and information. Keep battery-powered radio handy with replacement batteries. Have as many battery-operated lamps and flashlights as you can afford. Ensure cell phone batteries are fully charged. Purchasing backup batteries are advised. Keep cash for emergency purchases after the storm has passed. Prepare a list of emergency contact numbers for persons home and abroad. This is necessary in the event of total devastation, so a call for help can be relayed.
This message courtesy TTT Limited.
Welcome back, everyone. Artisans and entrepreneurs were once again given a space to promote and sell their products to potential customers at another pop-up event by the South Market 868. On Saturday, the vendors welcomed the favorable weather conditions at Price Plaza in Chaguanas. More in this report.
One of the organizers of South Market 868, Siljan Ramphal, said they're happy to offer a space to small business owners to build their clientele.
This marketplace is an affordable avenue for small businesses to come out and sell their products to the public. Once you are able, to cover the rent for your table and stuff, I think is a good avenue to be out and about to have your products sold.
There were many unique items for sale like pimento flakes. Gail Charles of Charlo Farm said the inspiration for the product came from an abundance of pimento at their farm. She said they grow and dehydrate their own pimento to produce the flakes.
Our flakes have a shelf life of 2 years. The product is convenient. Instead of having to buy pimentos, freeze pimentos or loose pimentos, you just open and pour. The fact is that the pimento flakes does everything that the ordinary pimentos do, but it's extraordinary.
Garvin George of Nikki's Blends, the producers of eggless alcohol-infused cremes, said the market continues to help small businesses like themselves to grow.
Markets are important because around this Christmas festive season, a lot of people come out, they want to get different products, new, something they've never tasted before. They also want to carry back stuff for friends and family from foreign, so it's important to come out and see what we have local.
Several locally produced items were on sale at the market, like soaps, candles, wines, savory and sweet delicacies, and more. The market will be moving to different locations during the Christmas season. The market continues at Val Park on Saturday, November 5th. Mahalia Joseph Wharton, TTT News.
The Calypso art form is in a rebuilding stage, while there are sentiments that Calypso History Month should not be only observed during October. Just a few of the thoughts expressed at a Crackers and Cheese live show put on by the Central Bank Auditorium on Saturday to pay tribute to the golden age of Calypso. More in this report.
Crackers and Cheese, a modern take on the Calypso tent experience, is the brainchild of 2018 NWAC Calypso Queen Stacey Sobers. The theme of the 5th installment of her concert series was "This is an Ode to Kaiso, a Kaiso love story."
The ancestors, from the beginning of the slave trade when they were here, this is what they used to communicate. It wasn't called Calypso then. We had Cariso, and then it came to Calypso. But what it means is that the people that went before us went through so much to have us here, right? To ensure that we know that we can pass through anything and surpass anything.
The concert featured performances from the People's Calypsonian Brother Valentino, spoken word artist Zakia Griot-Gill, and Chrison Joseph, son of the late Mighty Penguin, to name a few. Brother Valentino says we must pay homage to the Calypso greats who paved the way from Kitchener to Attila to Roaring Lion, Terror and Pretender for the struggles and the sacrifices they made.
Most of the experienced Calypsonians, as you know, they're just leaving and leaving. And we have some young ones coming up now who are really now learning the trade and the art of Calypso. So Calypso right now is on a rebuilding stage. We're building Calypso.
Ms. Sobers also believes there is a space for female Calypsonians to carry on the tradition and make the art form grow.
For my thesis, I did a piece on women in Calypso for my thesis. And I know a lot of women shy away from it because sometimes they feel that they're not getting a fair share, but it has space. There's a lot of space.
Spoken word artist Zakia Griot-Gill says Calypso is a beautiful genre of music. She believes we should do more to keep the art form alive, not only during Carnival and Calypso History Month in October.
Just remember, brother, blood thicker than water. Stay up, Zimbabwe.
Karen Kozia-Phillip, TTT News.
Tobago's 2022 Junior Calypso Monarch is 10-year-old Dishay Soul. The young entertainer attends the Parla Touvier Anglican Primary School and is no stranger to the stage. He shared the message behind his winning piece in this I Love Tobago segment.
Learn to read, my grandmother's legacy. Learn to read, learn to read.
Titled My Grandmother's Legacy, Dishay said the song which took him to the top was written by Tobago renowned educator Dr. Verlene Bob Lewis and is based on a true story.
My grandmother, when I was young, growing up in infants, in preschool, my grandmother had 2 red books, the first and second primer. And she taught me how to read with those 2 books.
The talent of this 10-year-old is innate, as his father, Dijon Saul, is also a skillful entertainer. DJ said his preparations were challenging, but he received the support.
Well, I am in the SCA class. I had to put off so many days from school. It was challenging. My grandfather, Darlington Chance, and my mother, Sabrina Blake, was helping me, pushing me to try my best. And my grandfather, Darlington Chance, was behind the dance, Adoba Dubai. Yeah, he was behind that dance.
Dishe said when it was announced that he was the 2022 Junior Calypso Monarch, he was filled with pride.
I felt honored because I never thought that I was going to win. I thought I'd just go there and do my best of my ability. I didn't expect it. I was very nervous, but I succeeded.
And before he left, the young Calypsonian stressed the importance of literacy.
Because when you are illiterate, you cannot get the jobs that you want to do, right? So when you learn to read now, then you'll get to do anything you want. Learn to read, everybody.
Dishe began singing at the age of 4. He's eager to continue honing his skills and making his mark in this society. I am Caricia Douglas for TTT News, and I love Tobago.
Learn to read, my grandmother's legacy. Learn to read, learn to read.
Remember, you can keep up to date with all that's happening on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at TTT Live online. Up next, World Cup and regional cricket in the Sportscast. Stay with us.
Lights. We don't need no big promoter. The name must go big sponsor. So, when you see the police, tell them come get something to eat right out in the back. Yeah. We go tingly, licky. It's your rise and we tell right here in the back. Yeah. Hey, go shut in the kitchen.
The Atlantic hurricane season is here. Are you prepared?
Here's some information on powered battery supplies, emergency funds, and information. Keep battery-powered radio handy with replacement batteries. Have as many battery-operated lamps and flashlights as you can afford. Ensure cell phone batteries are fully charged. Purchasing backup batteries are advised. Keep cash for emergency purchases after the storm has passed. Prepare a list of emergency contact numbers for persons home and abroad. This is necessary in the event of total devastation, so a call for help can be relayed.
This message is courtesy TTT Limited.
Whether wet or dry season, hazards can strike without warning, causing you or your family to quickly evacuate. You may not have the time to grab the essentials. Be sure to have your grab-and-go bag in easily accessible locations. Here are the top 7 categories that should be included and tailored to your family's need. 1. Non-perishable food items, water and utensils. 2. First aid kit and extra medication. 3. Personalized items. 4. Change of clothing and comfortable footwear. 5. Copies of important documents such as birth papers and certificates. 6. Cash and small bills. And 7. Tools, safety items and equipment. For more information on how to be ready, visit odpm.gov.tt. A message from the ODPM.
Welcome back. Dylan Carter won his 5th gold medal of the 2022 FINA Swimming World Cup in the men's 50-meter backstroke at the Toronto Pan Am Sports Centre in Canada last evening. Carter, swimming out of lane 7, was the 6th fastest qualifier in the heats, but continued to enhance his reputation over 50 meters. The TTO swimmer completed the 2-lap swim in 22.94 seconds to keep the pressure on the top of the leaderboard. Poland's Kasper Stakowski was second in 23.01 seconds and Justin Rees of the USA third in 23.07. Carter followed his Golden Berlin hat-trick with a fourth on opening night in the 50 meters freestyle. He also finished fourth in the men's 100 meters freestyle last evening in 46.36 seconds. Australia's Kyle Chalmers won in 45.52 seconds. Carter is in lane 4 of tonight's men's 50-meter butterfly after qualifying fastest in a time of 22.71 seconds. And the CG United Super 50 Cup bowled off on Saturday with a clash between the Leeward Islands Hurricanes and West Indies Academy, and it was a former youth standout schooling the Academy bowling.
The West Indies Academy was in early trouble as Jeremiah Lewis counted for the highly rated Teddy Bishop with the first ball of the day. His fellow opener, Kirk McKenzie, soon followed, courtesy Raheem Cornwall, also for no score. But they recovered somewhat after that, with Kevin Wickham posting a top score of 44 and Keegan Simmons 43. They had a 68-run partnership, while Kevlon Anderson made 35 to contribute to the Academy's 190-for-9 in their 50 overs. The pick of the bowlers was the big man, Raheem Cornwall, with 4 for 42 from 10. Kofi James chipped in with 2 for 35. The Leeward Islands start was also shaky, with the Bishop combination of Joshua and Teddy, no relation, taking out Devon Thomas and Kieran Powell to have them reeling at 2 for 23 in the 7th. Joshua also accounted for Karima Gore as they slipped to 3 for 27 by the 9th over. Then came Casey Carty, the 2016 Under-19 World Cup winner, came in to score a game-winning 103 not out in 120 balls with 10 fours and 2 sixes. The next best score was 23 from Terence Ward as they reached the target of 191 for the loss of 7 wickets with 11 overs to spare. Joshua Bishop ended with figures of 4 for 40 from 10 in the losing effort. Trinidad and Tobago Red Force go into action on Monday versus the combined campuses and colleges at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy from 2 p.m. Wayne Cunningham, TTT Sport.
Century maker Casey Carty spoke to Cricket West Indies following the match and was elated for the early win in the tournament.
Casey Carty hit his second regional one-day 100 to help the Leeward Islands Hurricanes snatch a win from the West Indies Academy in the opening game of the CG United Super 50. And needless to say, he was pleased with the performance.
I'm very pleased. Put in a lot of work ahead of the tournament. I'm glad to see that it was fruitful in the first game, and hopefully I can continue. I find myself staying focused for longer periods. So every time I'm in that position, I always try to stay in the moment, and I never felt nervous at no point.
The West Indies stroke maker was a part of the academy setup, and he stressed the necessity for such a program.
Well, it's very important because actually my first listed tournament I represented the same academy team. There was a few camps leading up. It was really good work. Like I found myself getting better in like 2 weeks period working on specifics. So I hope they can continue and just keep the program going and always have them involved in the cricket and by extent for the cricket.
Carty is looking forward to facing Barbados Pride because he does well against them. But up first is the Jamaica Scorpions on Tuesday, and some fine-tuning is needed.
We can be a bit more sharp in the field, get around, give the captain more time to think, don't lose wicket in clusters when we come to bat, and just back ourselves and get the job done.
Wayne Cunningham, TTT Sport.
Today's matches in the T20 World Cup were filled with highs and lows as the countdown to the knockout stage begins. Here's Sachin Ramsubag with the roundup.
In the first encounter in Brisbane, Bangladesh got the better of Zimbabwe by 3 runs in a nail-biting finish. Bangladesh mustered 154-7 with Najimul Hussain Shanto top scoring with 71. Blessing Muzurbani grabbed 2 for 13. Zimbabwe struggled during the mid-stages at 69 for 5, but Sean Williams recovered the innings with a well-paced 64, but even that was not enough as they fell 3 runs short on 147 for 8. Pacer Taskin Ahmed was thrifty, marking 3 for 19. The Bengal Tigers are now second in Group 2 with 4 points. In the second encounter at Perth, Pakistan got the better of the Netherlands in a low-scoring encounter. The Dutch only managed a meagre 91 for 9, Shadab Khan being the best bowler, taking 3 wickets for 22 runs. Pakistan made light work of the target, led by Mohammad Rizwan's 49. 95 for 4, the final score, getting over the line in 13.5 overs. And in the third clash of the Super Sunday, also going down at Perth, in a second close finish of the day between India and the dynamic South Africa. The Indians were pegged back early from the arm of Lungasani and Giri, taking 4 for 21, while Wayne Parnell supported the effort with returns of 3 for 15. They eventually rallied to 133 for 9 from their 20 overs, thanks to Surya Kumar Yadav's 68 runs. South Africa struggled at 43 for 3 in over number 10, India having the upper hand at that stage. However, David Miller and Aidan Markram did the needful in a 76-run partnership that steered South Africa to victory in the final over, 137 for 5 in 19.4 overs, winning by 5 wickets. They are now atop Group 2 with 5 points, and New Zealand tops Group 1 also on 5 points. Sachin Ramsubag for TTT Sport.
That's a look at sport. Your weather's up next. Stay with us.
Trinidad and Tobago, since we first met, you knew it was love at first sight. We value and cherish the same things. We promised you the country's widest and most affordable mobile network, and we've kept that promise to you, our greatest supporter. We've grown your trust by ensuring you're always connected. From TNT's first fiber to the home network, to true 4G LTE connectivity nationwide, and all for you. No matter how far you roam, no matter how you choose to be connected, Digicel is always close by, building a foundation, or even when it's just to say,
"What's the scene?" You put on real weight, boy.
I am so proud of you. As our network has grown, so has our offering to you, and we've always invested in you. That's why our greatest achievement will always be you, our customer. Digicel, we're better together. Lights.
We don't need no big promoter. The name must go be sponsor. So when you see the police, tell them come get something to eat right out in the back. Yeah. We go tingy licky. It's your rise and we tell you right here in the back.
Tonight, generally settled conditions will give way to periods of showers, especially after midnight. There is also a medium 40% to 60% chance of isolated thunderstorm activity. Tomorrow, partly cloudy to cloudy periods with occasional showers and a medium chance of isolated thunderstorm activity. Riverine flood alert number 2, yellow level, is in effect. Street and isolated flash flooding events are possible with heavier downpours. Gusty winds can also occur. Seas are moderate with waves up to 1.5 meters in open waters and below 1 meter, occasionally choppy in sheltered areas. And it's been 2 years since Trinbagonians paraded on the road, and from all accounts, it looks like Carnival 2023 will be a bumper season. For tonight's Feel Good moment, we share some of the sights from Tobago Carnival 2022 Parade of the Bands in Scarborough.
Still drawing, best stand still. All the masqueraders get into the sections, we need to cross the stage. On the right hand side, Jamon. Yes.
This is TTT News. On behalf of all of us here, have a great night.
This is TTT. Live for local.
Going beyond the headlines. Asking the questions you want answered. Exploring government policies and how they impact you. We are delving deeper